Ethan, the son of billionaire Christopher, walked into his spacious office in Lagos, Nigeria, overlooking the bustling city below. He had always been involved in his father's business, Okonkwo Enterprises, but today he had a different plan. He had seen the job advertisement for an entry-level position in the company and decided to apply, wanting to experience the hiring process like any ordinary candidate. "Father, I've decided to apply for the job opening," Ethan said, walking into Christopher's office. Christopher looked up, surprised. "Why, Ethan? You already run several of our subsidiaries. Why do you need to apply like everyone else?" Ethan smiled. "I want to see if people judge me based on my character or our family's wealth. Plus, it'll be a good learning experience for me." Christopher nodded, impressed by his son's humility. "All right, I'll make sure the HR department doesn't know it's you applying. But promise me you'll be careful." Ethan nodded, and Christopher handed him the application form. Ethan filled it out, using his middle name, Henry, to keep his identity hidden. The next day, Ethan received an email inviting him for an interview. He printed out the letter and smiled, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. The day of the interview arrived, and Ethan got dressed in an oversized suit, looking like it belonged to someone twice his size. He took a deep breath, grabbed his briefcase, and headed out the door. As he arrived at the Okonkwo Enterprises building, he felt a sense of unease. The security guards looked him up and down, smirking, but let him pass without a word. Ethan took the elevator to the designated floor, his heart beating faster with each passing moment. He had never felt so unsure of himself before. When he reached the interview room, he took a deep breath and walked in. The panel of interviewers looked up, and their faces immediately contorted into mocking grins. "Ah, welcome, Henry," one of them said, stumbling over the name. "Please, take a seat." Ethan sat down, adjusting his oversized suit, and tried to compose himself. The interviewers began asking him questions, but their tone was condescending, and they seemed more interested in making fun of him than assessing his qualifications. "So, Henry, tell us, why do you think you're qualified for this position?" one of the interviewers asked, a smirk on his face. Ethan smiled calmly. "I believe I have the necessary skills and experience for the job. I'm a quick learner, and I'm eager to contribute to the company." The interviewers exchanged skeptical glances, and one of them snorted. "You're certainly confident, I'll give you that." The interview continued, with the panel making snobby remarks and asking ridiculous questions. Ethan remained composed, but it was clear they had already made up their minds about him. Finally, one of them stood up, his expression dismissive. "Thank you, Henry. We'll be in touch." Ethan knew it was over. He stood up, adjusted his suit, and walked out of the room, feeling a mix of relief and disappointment. As he reached the lobby, the security guards approached him. "Sorry, mate, but you're not going anywhere," one of them said, grabbing his arm. "You're not getting paid to waste our time." The guards dragged Ethan out of the building, ignoring his protests. As they reached the gate, a sleek black SUV pulled up, and Christopher stepped out, his eyes scanning the scene before him. "What's going on here?" he demanded, his voice firm. The guards and interviewers turned pale, realizing too late that Ethan was the billionaire's son. Christopher's eyes narrowed as he took in the scene before him. His son, Ethan, was being dragged out of the building by the security guards, his oversized suit rumpled and his briefcase falling to the ground. "What's going on here?" Christopher repeated, his voice firm and commanding. The guards stumbled backward, releasing Ethan's arms as they realized who they were addressing. Sir, we were just—" Ethan intervened, straightening his suit and picking up his briefcase. "It's okay, father. I was just leaving." Christopher's gaze swung to the interviewers, who were now hovering nervously near the entrance. You people interviewed him?" he asked, his tone incredulous. One of the interviewers stepped forward, attempting to salvage the situation. "Ah, Mr. Okonkwo, sir, we didn't realize—" Christopher cut him off with a raised hand. "I want to see everyone involved in this decision in my office. Now." The interviewers and security guards exchanged nervous glances, but they knew better than to disobey the billionaire's orders. They scurried after Christopher as he strode back into the building, Ethan walking calmly beside him. As they entered the elevator, Ethan placed a hand on his father's arm. "Dad, please, don't be too hard on them." Christopher's expression softened, and he patted his son's hand. "I'll handle it, Ethan, but you should have told me what was happening." Ethan smiled. I wanted to experience it for myself, Dad. I needed to know if people would treat me differently if they didn't know who I was. The elevator doors opened, and they stepped out into the executive suite. Christopher's assistant, Sophia, looked up in surprise as they entered. Sophia, please gather everyone involved in the interview process for Ethan, Christopher instructed. Sophia's eyes widened as she quickly nodded and began dialing phones. The conference room was filled with tension as everyone assembled. Christopher stood at the head of the table, his arms crossed, while Ethan sat calmly beside him. So tell me, what happened during the interview? Christopher asked, his voice deceptively calm. The lead interviewer, a middle-aged man named Daniel, spoke up. Well, sir, the candidate, Henry, seemed qualified, but his appearance was unprofessional. Christopher's eyebrows rose. Unprofessional? Daniel squirmed. He was dressed rather eccentrically. Christopher turned to Ethan. And how did you feel during the interview, son? Ethan smiled. I felt like I was being judged, Dad. But I tried to stay focused and answer their questions to the best of my ability. Christopher nodded, his expression thoughtful. He turned back to the interviewers. You see, gentlemen, Ethan is my son. He's also one of the most intelligent and capable individuals I've ever met. And you judged him based on his appearance. The room fell silent, with everyone avoiding eye contact. Christopher continued, I should fire all of you for your behavior, but Ethan has asked me to show mercy. Ethan spoke up. Yes, Dad, I believe they just need to learn. Maybe we can arrange some training on empathy and respect. Christopher's face softened, and he nodded. All right, Ethan. Because of you, I'll give them a chance to learn. The interviewers and security guards looked relieved, but also humbled by the experience. As the meeting concluded, Christopher turned to Ethan. You have a kind heart, son. You're going to do great things. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of pride and gratitude. He knew that this experience had taught him a valuable lesson, and he was grateful to have his father's understanding and support. The incident sparked a change in the company, and soon, Okonkwo Enterprises became known for its culture of empathy and respect. Christopher and Ethan walked out of the conference room, ready to face the challenges ahead, side by side. The billionaire and his son walking together, leaving a trail of kindness and compassion in their wake. The days that followed were a blur of activity as Okonkwo Enterprises underwent a transformation. Christopher had instructed the HR department to implement new training programs focused on empathy, respect, and inclusivity. The incident with Ethan had been a wake-up call, and he was determined to ensure that his company was a place where everyone felt valued and respected. Ethan, on the other hand, was hailed as a hero within the company. His kindness and humility had not only saved the careers of those involved, but had also inspired a cultural shift. Employees began to approach him with a newfound sense of admiration and respect. As Ethan walked through the office, people nodded and smiled, their faces filled with warmth and appreciation. He responded with a gentle smile, his eyes curling at the corners. Ethan, can I have a word with you? Christopher called out from his office. Ethan walked in, curiosity piqued. Yes, Dad? Christopher gestured for him to take a seat. I want to talk to you about the training program. I think you're the perfect person to head it up. Ethan's eyes widened in surprise. Me? But Dad, I'm not sure I'm qualified. Christopher chuckled. You're more qualified than anyone else, son. You've shown incredible empathy and understanding in a situation where most people would have reacted differently. You have a natural talent for leadership, and I believe you can make a real difference. Ethan thought for a moment before nodding. Okay, I'll do it. Christopher beamed with pride. I knew you'd agree. You'll start immediately. I'll have Sophia send over the details. As Ethan left the office, he felt a sense of purpose and belonging. He was no longer just the billionaire's son. He was a valued member of the team, making a real impact. The training program was a huge success, with employees from all levels of the company attending sessions and workshops. Ethan's message of kindness, empathy, and respect resonated with everyone, and soon the company's culture began to shift. One of the attendees was Daniel, the lead interviewer who had judged Ethan so harshly. Daniel had been nervous about attending the training, fearing that Ethan would hold a grudge. But as he listened to Ethan's words, he felt a pang of regret and shame. He realized how wrong he had been to judge someone based on their appearance. After the session, Daniel approached Ethan, his eyes filled with remorse. "Ethan, I want to apologize for my behavior during the interview. I was completely out of line, and I'm ashamed of myself." Ethan smiled, his eyes warm with forgiveness. "Daniel, I forgave you a long time ago. We're all human, and we make mistakes. What matters is that we learn from them and grow." Daniel's face crumbled, and he looked away, trying to compose himself. "Thank you, Ethan. Thank you for being so kind and understanding." Ethan placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "We're all on this journey together, Daniel. Let's learn and grow together." As the days turned into weeks, the company's culture continued to evolve. Employees were more considerate, more empathetic, and more respectful. The office atmosphere had transformed, and people were happier and more productive. Christopher couldn't be prouder of his son. Ethan had taken a difficult situation and turned it into something beautiful. One evening, as Ethan was leaving the office, he was approached by a young woman named Sophia, who had been watching him from afar. "Ethan, can I talk to you for a minute?" she asked, her voice hesitant. Ethan smiled, his eyes sparkling at the corners. "Of course, Sophia. What's on your mind?" Sophia took a deep breath and began to speak, her words spilling out in a rush. I just wanted to say thank you for being so kind and understanding. You've changed this company, and you've changed me." Ethan's expression softened, and he took Sophia's hand. "You're welcome, Sophia. But you deserve so much more than just kindness. You deserve to be valued and respected, just like everyone else in this company." Sophia's eyes filled with tears, and she smiled, feeling a sense of belonging and worth. As Ethan walked out of the office, he felt a sense of pride and satisfaction. He had made a difference, and he knew that this was just the beginning. As the weeks went by, Ethan's training program continued to shape the culture of Okonkwo Enterprises. The company's focus on empathy and respect had created a ripple effect, making it a more harmonious and productive workplace. One day, as Ethan was walking through the office, he noticed a young woman sitting at a desk, staring intently at her computer screen. She looked familiar, and Ethan realized it was Sophia, Christopher's assistant. Ethan approached her desk, and Sophia looked up, startled. "Oh, Ethan, hi." Ethan smiled. "Hi, Sophia. How's it going?" Sophia hesitated, looking uncertain. "It's going well, thanks. I just wanted to say thank you again for the training program. It's really made a difference." Ethan leaned against the desk, interested. "That's great to hear. What specifically made you want to thank me?" Sophia's eyes dropped and she frowned. "It's just, I've been struggling to fit in here. People don't really understand me, and I feel like I'm always walking on eggshells." Ethan's expression softened, and he sat down beside her. "I'm sorry to hear that, Sophia, but I want you to know that you're valued and respected here. Your unique perspective is important, and we need people like you." Sophia looked up, surprised by Ethan's words. "Really?" Ethan nodded. "Absolutely, and I'd like to show you something." He pulled out his phone and opened a photo album. "This is a picture of my family. We have a tradition of doing something we call Family Day every month. We go to a different place, and we all share something about ourselves that we're proud of." Sophia's eyes widened as she looked at the photos. "That sounds amazing." Ethan smiled. "It is, and I think we should do something similar here at the company. A Values Day where everyone can share their unique perspectives and talents." Sophia's face lit up. "That's a great idea. I would love to help organize it." As they began discussing the details, Ethan realized that Sophia was not only intelligent and capable, but also creative and passionate. He decided to offer her a role in the training program, and Sophia eagerly accepted. As they worked together, Ethan and Sophia grew closer, their conversations flowing easily. They discovered shared interests and laughed together, and Ethan found himself looking forward to seeing her every day. One evening, as they were working late, Ethan asked Sophia if she'd like to grab dinner with him. Sophia agreed, and they headed to a quiet restaurant nearby. Over dinner, they talked about everything from their favorite books to their childhood memories. Ethan was struck by Sophia's intelligence and kindness, and he found himself feeling drawn to her. As the evening drew to a close, Ethan walked Sophia home, feeling a sense of connection he'd never felt before. As they stood outside her apartment, Sophia turned to him, her eyes shining. "Thank you for dinner, Ethan. I had a really great time." Ethan smiled, feeling a spark of attraction. I had a great time too, Sophia. Would you like to do it again sometime? Sophia's face lit up and she nodded. I'd love to. Ethan leaned in, his heart beating faster, and kissed Sophia softly on the cheek. As he pulled back, Sophia's eyes met his, and they shared a moment of pure connection. Ethan knew that this was just the beginning of something special. As the days turned into weeks, Ethan and Sophia's connection grew stronger. They would meet for lunch, go on walks during breaks, and explore the city together. Ethan introduced Sophia to his family, and they welcomed her with open arms. Christopher, Ethan's father, was thrilled to see his son so happy. He had always worried about Ethan's future, wondering if he would ever find someone who truly understood him. One evening, as Ethan and Sophia were strolling through a park, hand in hand, Christopher called Ethan. Ethan, son, can I talk to you for a minute? He asked, his voice serious. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Is everything okay, Dad? Yes, everything's fine, Christopher reassured him. I just wanted to talk to you about Sophia. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of excitement. What about her? I like her, Ethan, Christopher said, his voice warm. She's a wonderful person, and I think she's good for you. Ethan's heart swelled with happiness. Thanks, Dad. I really like her too. Christopher chuckled. I can tell, son. I've never seen you so happy. Ethan grinned, feeling a sense of relief. I feel like I've found my partner, Dad. As Ethan and Sophia's relationship continued to blossom, the company culture at Okonkwo Enterprises continued to thrive. The Values Day event was a huge success, with employees sharing their unique perspectives and talents. Ethan and Sophia worked together to plan the event, and it was clear that they made a great team. On the day of the event, the office was filled with music, art, and laughter. Employees shared stories, showcased their talents, and celebrated their differences. As the event came to a close, Ethan took the stage, Sophia by his side. Thank you, everyone, for being here today and celebrating our unique perspectives and talents, Ethan said, his voice filled with emotion. This company is more than just a place to work. It's a community, and we're all part of it. The room erupted in applause, and Sophia smiled up at him, her eyes shining with happiness. As they walked off the stage, Ethan turned to Sophia and took her hand. I love you, Sophia, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Sophia's face lit up, and she smiled. I love you too, Ethan. The room around them melted away, and all that was left was the two of them, lost in their own little world. And so Ethan and Sophia's story came full circle, a tale of love, kindness, and acceptance. Years later, Ethan and Sophia sat on the beach, watching their children play in the waves. Ethan turned to Sophia, his eyes filled with gratitude. I never thought I'd find someone like you, Sophia. Sophia smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. I never thought I'd find someone who loves me for who I am, Ethan. As they hugged, Ethan knew that he had found his soulmate in Sophia, and that their love would last a lifetime. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you like the story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.